everybody. Welcome to another edition of In the Weeds with Jimmy Young, on location at the Harvest Cup here in Worcester, Massachusetts. I do this every year, and I find interesting people to talk to. What can I tell you? And I found this guy because he's literally walking the aisles of the show. Show us with his GoPro. Is it a GoPro?
Yeah,
GoPro live streaming onto his channel on YouTube, right? And your name is Jay.
Yes.
And anybody who has the name Jay, J-A-Y is how I, right? Okay, because there's also Jay Crowder, used to play for this, right, okay. James Andrew Young is who you're talking to. J-A-Y are my initials.
Oh, wow.
So it is all about me. Anyway, tell me about, besides the live streaming, what role has cannabis played in your life? And you told me you're in your 30s. So why are you here? Why are you documenting this show? Tell me about who you are and what you're all about.
All this started because 5 years ago I got sober off dope, and I've lost a lot of friends and stuff. I started growing with my dad, as a kid, tomato plants and stuff. My dad was an immigrant from Sicily,
Okay.
and that progressed into a love for plants. And at the age of 16, I got a legacy grower when it was still illegal, and he took me under his wing. It was my best friend's dad at the time. He's actually gone now. That's where some of my seeds come from. And it's just, ever since then, I've grown it. I love growing the plant. It is such a medicine for me, and it always has been. And the problem with it, I find, is they don't want us to have our medicine, and people don't understand that it is my medicine, because even on YouTube and stuff, and my YouTube shorts, people are like, breathe air, oh, Jesus loves you, oh, that's bad for you. I'm like, dude, I'm old enough to freaking know it's bad for me. But inhaling it, maybe, the combustion aspect of it, but the rest of it is my medicine.
Okay, and what is happening, interesting you're bringing that up, because I'm pretty well aware of what happens in this industry now. The industry is moving towards measured micro dosing.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that's preparing it for big pharma takeover or not, or even little pharma takeover if they move it from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. But that's a discussion for another day and down the road. Well, the fact that there's a movement going towards that direction is a good thing. But it is learning about the way to titrate, learning how best to get it into your system now, right? And the first words I said to the bud tender at the medical dispensary that opened in Massachusetts in 2013, because that was when I had my medical card, my first medical card, and it is all about. I told him, I'm not sure I want to smoke it anymore. And he goes, well, here, try this. Here's an edible. Here's a tincture. And I tried them all. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't get a lot of guidance, and I did too much, like everybody does. Everybody has an edible story. I asked David Ortiz for his edible story. He laughed his brains out, but he didn't tell me his story. But I'll get it at some point. My point is, learning about how to use the medicine is the key here. You agree with me?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I'm a long-time smoker, so I need a lot. It doesn't affect me like a first-time smoker would.
Hang on. I love this. How old are you?
34.
Okay, so if you were talking to somebody who's used it for 48 years.
I started when I was 12.
I understand, but I've used it for 48 years, and I'm 66. I took 10 years off in Maine when my son was born at Mercy Hospital in Portland, Maine. And that's where I worked for 11 years in the 80s at Channel 13. That's what I told you. And
Yeah.
I'm still friends with Kim Block. I don't know if you know who she is, but she was a longtime anchor in Portland, Maine. Anyway, let's go back to you. Why are you doing what you're doing?
Because it saved my life.
How did it save your life?
The growing aspect, caring about something other than myself and helping my mind get off that addiction, is really why I came to this. And I live stream because I want to get people to grow. I'm more of the person that you're going to talk to grow. I don't want you going to the store. I'd say kick the store, grow it yourself.
And by the way, that too is an issue in these new states. We're up to 24 legal states now, and some of those states don't have home grow. They don't allow. New Jersey is the one that comes to mind immediately.
New Jersey did some messed up stuff. So when New Jersey first legalized, they were still arresting people because they had no legislation yet.
250,000 that year, by the way. I remember reporting on that.
Yeah, we do almost the same thing. Like, we talk about the news. I stay very, very, like, on top of the politics and what's going on. We got people in Michigan that are fighting for Congress in front of Congress and stuff.
Well, my Michigan correspondent, Amy Carter, I'm going to embarrass her, but she's fighting to help her autistic child get access to his medicine in the school because the schools are blocking it in a legal state. It makes no sense.
Yeah, that doesn't.
There's plenty of things that make no sense to those that are in the industry and understand the plant, but it's enlightening the reefer madness world and those that are still want it to be prohibited. That is the biggest challenge.
I was going to say, there's still like a pretty big stigma about this. If you're standing outside and I'm smoking like a joint and someone looks at me, I mean, I'm a big guy, so no one really like gives me a second look, but a lot of the time they'll give you a dirty look and stuff, and I'm just like, this is just like you go home and take your Vicodin or Percocet or whatever. I smoke this as my medicine.
And I don't know, have you ever heard of a doctor named Peter Grinspoon by any chance?
I have a little bit.
Okay, so I interviewed him 3 years ago, and I asked him a question that I've used. It's actually on one of my shorts on Pro Cannabis Media, which is our website and our YouTube channel, and I pulled all of my live feeds because I couldn't keep them going. That being said, I still believe in it, and I still do a weekly news show called Weed Talk News. I'm giving myself a plug here because I know I love it. And I wish you could teach me how to do that, by the way. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I've asked people, show me how to do LinkedIn Live, because I love live. Yeah. I was a talk show host for 30 years.
It's a different experience. It really is. It's a different experience to be like live, being able to talk to people in the moment, what they want to talk about. Like, if someone's not like, I have people that join my live and they might not be in the best mood, but they just want to come hang and smoke.
Yeah, actually that's a good way to use the medium, because it engages people and in real time, which is what live is, which is what, and as a longtime television producer with 5 Emmy nominations and one win. So one win. But that was as a talk show host, and it was a sports talk show for kids I created in the 90s on NACN. Awesome. But very proud of it, very proud. That's why I always drop it in, you know? Gives me some cred. Yeah. Gives me some cred. That being said, I'm still very passionate about what we're doing, what we've started here, and we'd like to tell the stories of the industry through the people in the industry, because media, commercial media, which is driven by ratings, okay, it's how they set their advertising dollars, okay, has to sensationalize in order to get audience.
Yeah. Oh, they'll dumb down a story to a 5-minute or 5-second clip.
Right. Well, or I'm not going to throw this group under the bus because I did used to work for them, but when they did a story about a school administrator bringing edibles to school and an 8-year-old getting into it, okay, they showed an image of somebody smoking a joint. Now, sorry, that's not good journalism, and it's misinformation.
That's not
right?
Integrity behind it at all.
No, but they don't understand it. This is my biggest issue with friends in my media, and I'm going to be talking to a lot of them in the next few weeks, because I'm trying to explain to them what is going on in the industry and what the mistakes they're making.
So I got a question for you.
Sure. You can interview me.
Do you find in the industry, talking to all these people, that there's a different view on everyone? Like someone like me, I'm a craft person. I don't like big business. I never will.
Most of the people that are in the industry because they care about it, okay, are craft growers, and they usually have better shit, if you don't mind me saying so, than the MSOs that are out there, because masses, you know, you said you have a relationship with plants, right?
Yes,
it's a living thing.
Yes.
Right?
You gotta be careful.
Right. So, look, I have this story. I have a black thumb. Okay, you know what that is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I actually kept a hibiscus plant going for like 3 years. But I had to take care of it. Yeah. I had to bring it in, right? I had to feed it. I had to make sure that it was warm.
It's a child. Right. It really is. Like, if you're not feeling good, your plants aren't feeling good.
Right. And there's a skill, a gift, to be able to grow it well enough to earn a living at it. How's that?
Yes, very much so. But I'm also very organic. I don't want no pesticides or any of that nonsense.
Are you a Korean organic farmer?
KNF? No, I have a lot of people that do KNF.
Are you impressed that I actually knew it?
I did, yeah. Actually, it's it's not Korea.
Friends from Humboldt.
We're not in Korea, so you don't call it Korean natural. It's just natural farming.
Right. Natural farming, exactly. Right. I get it. You're right. I like that. All right.
A lot of my friends are regenerative. They do compost. We do our own worm castings. We use what the Mother Earth gives us because I think that's the best bud you get too.
Right. And Mother Earth put it on this planet for a reason, to be used medicinally like it's been used for over 3,000 freaking years.
I just watched a documentary before I came here today. They said the cannabis plant's been around for over 10,000 years.
But
in China.
I know it's China. I get that. Okay, and that's what I remember reading that too. The earliest documented use of it's about 3,000.
Well, they're actually finding more documented use as we're realizing what the history was doing, because we don't really know. We're using samples of pollen and other stuff to figure out what was going on. And you got to remember, we didn't start taking records till when?
Again, when they could write them and everything, and they came off the cave walls and they got into print. And oh, by the way, you think Mr. Hearst, who was involved in banning cannabis in the 1930s, I don't know if you know the story.
No.
I can share that with you, but Hearst, DuPont, and Carnegie funded reefer madness people. Okay, and because they were afraid of the hemp, and they wanted to continue the Jim Crow South. So race and economics has played a role in this plant since it came in from the Mexicans that brought it in, right? And I'm sure you know through history we've had presidents that did not want those people to have access to cannabis, and that guy who did this created the Controlled Substances Act in 1971.
But they can use it for their ropes for their Navy sail ships, and they can grow it for their ropes and clothes and whatever else they were using it for. It's all right, but
they were afraid of that because they got their money through pulp. They look at the history.
Isn't the Constitution written on hemp?
Yes.
Like it's just a thing that's been in our culture for a long time. And I think that
but it was vilified because of racism and to control money flow for those that are coming into this country that didn't look like the white man. I'm sorry, but the old white man has screwed up this country, but good for a long time.
Well, my dad came over. Like I said, my dad was an immigrant from Italy.
We all are immigrants. Thank you very much. You and I aren't, because we're probably both born in the United States, right?
Yes.
But our parents, our grandparents, unless you're Native American. And by the way, it's November, isn't it? Not only is it Veterans Day weekend, but it's also Indigenous People Month, right? Yep. To salute, because what the white man did to the people that were here first, okay, is pretty cruel.
The British is cruel.
Well, the British did it unto us, so we ran out and started our own country, but we took advantage of the people that were here. We put them in cages and then slaughtered them. I know. You know what? I'm a history major.
We were just following them, what they taught us.
Right, yeah. And how's that worked out for us?
Exactly.
If we don't understand at this point that we'd better all learn how to get along with those that don't look like us, act like us, and believe in what we're saying. Unfortunately now, here I go on my preacher media thing. You could surround yourself with like-minded people, like-minded news, like-minded shows, because the consumer now is in charge of their use of media. They can create their own like you do, but you're doing it for a good cause. I salute you. I also really thought it was kind of funny. I'm walking the aisles and he's got his little GoPro camera on his head, and I laughed. I said, "Oh man, he's getting some great stuff with that." Because I know how walk the halls. I did everything I do is on my phone. Yep.
I actually traded seeds for that GoPro.
You traded seeds for the GoPro.
Yep.
I love that.
Yep. A lot of my stuff's based around the cannabis community.
Let me ask you a question. What's the message you think is the most important message for those that are still afraid of it, still want it prohibited, still treat it like a drug and not a plant medicine? What's the message you want to share to tell those people?
Grow up and learn some facts. Like facts is, if you live on a fact base, you should know it's a medical substance. Like Israel's been doing research for how long? Right.
And Raphael Mechoulam, may he rest in peace, right?
Yes, sir.
He's the father of THC, for those of you out there who don't know.
It's very... We are seeing a shift, though. We are. Like, the reefer madness generation is moving out or dying.
It's getting small.
Yes.
It's getting small.
So, like,
And not by getting high, by the way.
so, but like now kids are seeing, like, you can go down the highway and see an ad for a dispensary on the highway. I think, honestly, I heard this saying the other day.
Yep.
I think cannabis should be regulated like alcohol.
And by the way, regulate marijuana like alcohol was the group that got Ohio to vote legalization in this past week.
Yep.
See, do I know my shit or what, Jay? Huh? You press, come on.
I am. Actually, Captain 420, I don't know if he's in here. Shout out Captain. He's from Ohio. He's actually in Thailand right now. They just opened up in Thailand. He wants me to come visit.
Well, Thailand gave plants out to their entire population
They had like
a couple years
ago. Or something crazy.
I mean, and they've dialed it back a little bit. I understand, which is fine. But I just think it was amazing. That was a lead story on our news.
We're seeing a lot more countries open up, and that's the bigger thing. I think once the global scale opens up, it's going to cut out a lot of the craft breeders because there's going to be a lot of import, but it's going to make that stigma disappear.
Are you familiar with the commodity futures world?
Yeah.
You know? Okay. So it's a live thing,
Yeah.
the plant, right?
Yeah.
So it eventually will have an index and be traded on the open market.
Should be.
Right.
I think you should be able to go to farmers markets and sell your wares just like you could tomatoes and
And I believe in Maine they are doing it.
hopefully.
No, I'm pretty sure they are. I know somebody who's involved with it. So that's
we
why I
need
know.
we need more consumption lounges too. We don't have anywhere to chill because I go to the bar and I don't like people drinking. I used to be a bouncer and stuff. I've seen some horrendous things with people drinking.
The police love hanging out at weed events because they don't have to break up fights.
They can just sit there and hang out.
Because we're all pretty mellow and chill, and we're just here to talk and get along. Yeah. It's a novel approach to the impulsivity and the anger that is inside our society right now. Okay, this is great, Jay. I'm having a great conversation with you. I really have enjoyed hanging out with you. So wait, let's give yourself a plug. How do people follow you? Because as you and I both know, it's papaya. What? That doesn't help. Just say what it is.
It says 4 Smash 20 on it.
4 smashed 20, and it's the little @ sign in front of it, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
YouTube, Instagram. I got TikTok. I try to.
I got. You know what? I'm going to make sure I get a contact info because I'm a teacher and a coach. It's really what I live for, working and trying to change the world so that, through education. I'd like a TikTok correspondent for my company that is teetering. We're gonna shift. Okay, the live thing. The world wasn't ready for live cannabis talk when I started it 3 years ago. Okay, it just wasn't. That being said, we're getting news. We do a weekly news show called We Talk News. It comes out on my YouTube channel between noon and 3 on every Friday. I compile it over 24 hours. Trust me, I'm up for 20 out of 24 hours, people, to put this freaking show together. So watch it, subscribe, and like it, will you please? And this past week is the Ohio story. And I had a reaction from Washington, D.C. and Normal. And I had a reaction from Ohio, an attorney named Harry Bernstein, who's been on with me a number of times. He's kind of my go-to guy in Ohio. And that's how I knew. And of course, what was my question for the news? What state do you think is going to be number 25? Do you have any idea?
I don't know. It's a toss-up. It really is right now.
Well, Pennsylvania may be the one.
They're surrounded.
Right. They're surrounded, and they're starting to talk about it inside their legislature now. I know people there. It's a vibrant medical area. The problem with Pennsylvania is the rural communities of Pennsylvania versus the cities.
There's a lot of Amish still over there, and there's a lot of the no electricity type of Amish still there.
Hey, you know what? You need water and sun. Last time I checked to grow this thing, right? Not that I would, because I have a black thumb. The responsibility of having a live thing, another live thing in my. No. I'm good with one kid. Thank you.
So I'm indoor and outdoor grower. So I have lights hanging that are like.
Be careful of those lights, because as you know, there's lots of news stories about people who end up with fires in their houses because of those lights.
So you got to make sure you're buying a light that's actually well known. Just like anything, you got to do your research and make sure it's not a company that's using bad products. You got to make sure you're using good cords, good surge protectors. Like, you're not buying cheap stuff. You can't be buying cheap stuff.
Talk to an electrician, a licensed electrician, like my son, by the way, would be a good person to talk to. But he lives in North Carolina that doesn't like cannabis.
Yeah, they're weird out there, I heard.
But you ready for this? Here's a little tidbit about North Carolina. Did you know that the indigenous tribe in North Carolina is selling and growing cannabis right now?
If you go to Canada, like, people, they have a federal legalization, but they say the native market's the one to be in.
Sure. Because it's more open than the state-controlled one.
Yeah, they have their own regulations and stuff on the res, so it's a little bit different. They don't have to worry about, like, the white man coming in and taking it.
I apologize for my gender and my race all the time, because if you look at history, you see what I mean. And guys, look, we think with a body part, and we are dictated by our wallets.
So since I want to say this before, like, there's a lot of Native American women that have been going missing and stuff. There's a big story about it, like indigenous women getting kidnapped and a whole bunch of stuff. If you do a little bit of research, there's a lot of people in the indigenous community that, like, if you ever see the red handprint over their face, that is for the indigenous women that are gone missing.
Well, look, and that's bad. Okay, I just want to make sure everybody understands that's a bad thing. It does happen to other cultural groups too.
Yes.
Okay.
Very much so.
Right. And it, again.
But it's usually foreigners. Like, it's usually someone that's from another country, I've noticed. It's not the guy that works on Wall Street's daughter.
Right. You made a comment about education. It is what I did when I got my medical card, because I walked in, I said, I'm not sure I want to smoke it anymore. I want to learn about it. So I started watching Max Simon's Green Flower Group out of California before they got pulled down on YouTube.
Yeah.
Sorry.
YouTube had a big purge at once.
It was, I could, would you like to talk, would you like to know why? Because I know exactly why. It had to do with the Cole memo being rescinded under Mr. Trump. I don't refer to him as the ex-president.
I don't either.
Okay. And that memo that was in place during the Obama administration basically said the federal government will not interfere with local, state, legal cannabis states. He rescinded that, and everybody thought the feds were going to start coming down on everything and having to do with cannabis. So what did YouTube do, owned by Google? They pulled all their cannabis content down. And that was Green Flower. Max Simon had 250,000 subscribers when they pulled him down in April of 2018, which is the month I started my podcast. I didn't start it on YouTube because of that. I went to the Weed Tube.
Yeah, WeedTube was big for a while. That was right after the forums, right before YouTube.
April 2018. I'm telling you, that's what it was. And now you know why it happened, right?
Yeah. Do you know,
Professor?
The one thing Trump did that's all right is he wasn't reading his bills when he was signing, and he let the farm bill go through.
Well, hang on a second. Mitch McConnell.
Yeah.
Yertle. I call him Yertle. Okay, what can I tell you? Kentucky senator was. He's the one who saw it through and had no idea the Pandora's box that he was opening when he did it. And now, what's happened? The CBD world and the hemp world is unregulated, and it's going crazy. And they're going to that's going to be the next interesting policy change, because it has to be, it's being rewritten right now.
Well, they got the Delta 8, THCO, THCP. There's all those need to be regulated. Like, some of them are more psychoactive than just THCA.
Robitussin is psychoactive, okay? You don't use Robitussin recreationally. You use it when you're sick.
They say THCP and O are like 10 times stronger than normal.
So again, let's go back to start low, go slow, learn.
Don't buy anything from the gas station.
Don't buy anything at the gas station, please. Sorry, gas station owners. You shouldn't be selling that because it's untested, and it doesn't probably work, okay? But, Jay, you know what? This has been a very good conversation. I'm glad we've met each other.
I had to hold my silver. Like, I'm a mass boy. I swear a lot, so I've had to hold my tongue a lot.
It's all right. And being from the commercial television world, I'm very conscious of that. And by the way, the fact that the FCC is completely an impudent organization right now, and it was designed to protect the airwaves from misinformation. Yeah. Now they gave social media the keys to the asylum and allowed them to hide behind the First Amendment and police themselves. How's that been working out?
Not very good. I mean, I stream most days. Like most days, you'll catch me in my garden live,
I love that.
and I love doing it. Just
we're gonna work together. We're gonna figure this out.
the one thing, TikTok is kind of weird. Like I've been trying TikTok. People are making good money off TikTok. I've watched businesses blow up in one day. But I try to do anything cannabis, they hold it down. But they don't care about me talking about it. So
Well, they can't censor you when you're live.
yeah. Well, actually, they'll hit if they don't like something, like if the music in the background after, I'll get an email after.
So do I. I get the copyright strikes all the time, but you know what? It's background, and you have to fight for it. You have to just explain to them, look, I'm not making money off that music.
I'm not making money off YouTube in general yet.
I'm not making money, period. Let's just leave it at that. We're in the cannabis space. Yeah. Hey, Jay, again, another plug for your smashed.
For the number 4 smashed ED and 20, the number 20.
I got you. And I will give that. I'll put a graphic underneath it. You know how that works, right? Yeah.
Yeah. If anyone wants to get a hold of me, if you want to learn to grow, let me know. Organic. I've grown a bunch of different ways. Organic. I can teach anyone hydro. Would
you create a 1-minute grow tip every week for my news?
If you want me to.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I can.
Because I've been looking for them.
I can do organic. I have other people to work with too. Like we have a big. All right, so let me give another shout out to a YouTube channel because he's been a really big supporter of mine. Yep. Fumidors in the Flavor. He's from Portland. He just got back from Israel. His mother was sick, and we've been going since actually 2018, 2017.
This is Portland, Maine, by the way, folks.
No, Portland, Oregon.
Oh, excuse me, Portland, Oregon. By the way, we have an Oregon correspondent. We have a woman who's a grower in Oregon.
Yeah, he just released a seed line. He was on a show called Embracing Organics, which isn't around anymore. It kind of faded into existence. But that happens with these cannabis channels. Sometimes people get in disagreements and stuff. But yeah, Fumidor in the Flavors. We're live 3 nights a week, religiously. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday, and I do my show Mondays.
So if you want to get really wasted and decide which is closer to the North Pole, Portland, Maine, or Portland, Oregon, and you're not hanging out with Billy Kreutzmann, the original drummer for the Dead, the answer is Portland, Maine.
Yeah. Maine's. I've been telling people ever since we've been illegal. Maine brings the heat. People want Cali packs. I say that stuff's coming from Maine, homie.
And it's the water in Maine. Uncle Pete Transmontane in Maine, he's the one that taught me a lot about the caregiver culture that is part of Maine before it became adult use legal.
Well, before we went live, I was like, you were talking about the water. I was like, dude, look at people bringing from California. They're bringing New York water for their bagels and pizza dough. Come on.
It is the water in Maine. Hey, Jay, really nice to talk with you. Let's keep in touch. This is why these shows are so much fun, because the plant brings people together. And you find common ground when you just chit chat and talk with them. So
I probably would never be in a building with you. You.
No reason to be here if we're in Canada.
Yes, we would probably never have met unless of this plant.
Unless you were hanging out on the streets of Worcester smoking a joint, because I met a lot of people out there doing that.
Well, yeah. I mean, like your previous life, the media stuff, that's big. Like having
30 years in pal.
That's big. That's a lot of like, business.
Yeah, it's also been 3 divorces. Okay, that'll do it. That'll do it for this week's In the Weeds with Jimmy Young. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, Jay, you could use this. It's a whole new world of weed out there. Use it responsibly.